Norton, and Norton to Narsingh on the right wing once more. Plays it infield to Routledge, back out near the corner flag to Narsingh once more. Back to Routledge again, and now to Norton. Norton forwards to Carroll, and a poor ball from him given away to Jonathan Fort. And that's pretty much going to do us. All eyes on the referee, puts the whistle to his mouth, and that's it. Notts County bow out of the FA Cup at the fourth round stage. It's taken a replay. They were brilliant in the first game at Meadow Lane, perhaps not so much tonight, as the quality really showed from this Premier League outfit in Swansea City. They were clinical, they were incisive, and at times they were frankly ruthless. But a job done from a Swansea perspective, and a night to forget from a Notts County one. Mark Stallard, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we've been airing our thoughts throughout the game. Yes. I mean, as one-sided a contest, I think, as you're ever likely to see. The gulf between Premier League and League Two was evident right from the very start. Swansea started well, started on the front foot. Notts afforded them far too much time and space all over the pitch. And Swansea players of this quality took advantage of it. But, you know, yes, the scoreline is a bit demoralising. 8-1 is an absolute spanking, of course it is. But we can't allow that to derail what has been a fantastic season and a fantastic cup run for Notts. You know, what's happened tonight is Notts didn't perform and Swansea did, and that just emphasised the gulf. It was an absolute masterclass of finishing as well, that's got to be said. And what you want these Notts players to do is not to lose confidence from this, but try and learn a little bit from it. Try and look at what have Swansea done, what have the man you're up against, what's he done that's affected us in such a bad way, that's made it look like a million miles apart between the two teams, and take that into the league. What can't happen is allow the margin of deficit to be so huge that it knocks the confidence because we've got a massive game now on Saturday at Barnet.
What is lovely though is that the Notts County travelling support, and fair play to them, have stood and applauded and cheered on their players and chanted E-I-E-I-E-I-O, up the Football League we go, which is, I guess, the thing to remember, that a cup run's nice, and this has been a good cup run for Notts County, but it is the league that is the priority, and the Notts County players and the Notts County manager, Kevin Nolan, sure will have appreciated that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, and it's credit to the Notts fans. They've been excellent. They always are excellent anyway, but they've been excellent on the travels this season, and certainly tonight. They give the Notts, I think they know, they've seen, people at home will have seen it on the telly, they'll have listened to us on the radio. You know, they've had the floor wipe with them tonight, they've been given a lesson, whatever, however you want to term it. But so they should. Yeah. They're 3 divisions below. They're a million miles away in terms of finances. Yeah. You're talking about bit part players for Swansea who they've paid £2 and £3 million for. You know, Notts haven't paid that on the whole squad. So, you know, the gulf is just massive now between the top level and the lower leagues. And, you know, Notts have had a fantastic season. In the league particularly, yes, you say with the result tonight, they've just dropped out the automatic places. Well, this has got to be not demoralise them, this has got to be the spur for the rest of the season. Come on, you know, galvanise ourselves, let's have a good run into the end of the season, get back in them automatic places, and let's see if we can push up the levels ourselves. Maybe not to the Premier League with these sort of players. They've been given a lesson tonight, although they acquitted themselves brilliantly in the first leg, you know, but let's have a taste week in, week out of higher level football and test yourself against better opposition week in, week out.
Well, I've just been handed the stats. They read a very one-sided story. 14 shots on target in the end for the Premier League side, 6 off, so 20 in total, whereas Notts only had 4, and only one of them managed to find the back of the net. That was Noor Hassin after 35 minutes, as good as it got for Notts County. It wasn't the worst defeat that they've ever had. That was 9-1 on 3 occasions, 1889 against Blackburn, 1888 against Villa, and 1927 against Portsmouth. But it was close. Tammy Abraham breaking the deadlock after 18 minutes. Nathan Dyer getting the second of the game for Swansea just a minute or so later. Dyer got a second of the game for himself and a third for Swansea after half an hour. Noor Hassin then pulled it back. It was 3-1, and for a moment Notts County were pushing forward, but like I say, that as good as it got, with Tammy Abraham putting an end to any thoughts of some sort of miraculous comeback from the Magpies. He scored in stoppage time at the end of the first half to make it 4-1. That was what it was at the break. It took only 7 minutes or so for Swansea to make it 5-1 in the second half, with Norton popping up to make it 5-1. Routledge made it 6-1 4 minutes later. Tom Carroll with a wonderful finish, the finish of the game possibly, up into the top right hand corner, the real postage stamp of Adam Collins' goal after 65 minutes. And then the young boy off the bench, the Swansea lad, only 20 years old, Dan James, putting the icing on the cake for the Premier League side, making it 8-1 to them. A night to possibly forget from Notts County's perspective, but a night also to be proud that they made it this far, take it back into their league form, like Mark Stallard was saying, and hope that somehow a result like this can actually kick them on in the final few months of this season. That is certainly what Kevin Nolan will be calling from his players. That is it then from the Liberty Stadium. David Jackson with you now as Swansea City knock Notts County out of the FA Cup at the 4th round stage. They needed a replay to do it, remember that. But tonight it finished Swansea City 8, Notts County 1.
Charlie Slater, thank you very much indeed. Charlie will head off down to pitch side now to bring you some reaction from the Notts County camp to that 8-1 defeat. Elsewhere tonight, Huddersfield look like they are going to play Manchester United in the next round. They are 4-1 up away at Birmingham. That's in extra time at St Andrews, but Huddersfield's strength showing itself, it seemed, in the extra half an hour. 4-1 up they are. Rochdale have beaten Millwall by a goal to nil, so they will play either Newport or Spurs in the next round. Notts, as Charlie mentioned, have dropped a place in the league table as well tonight, just to add insult to injury. They've dropped down to 4th. Accrington beating Swindon by 2-1, and in League One, Bury beating Wimbledon also by 2-1. Only in the Checkatrade Trophy could you get a quarter-final and a semi-final on the same night. Lincoln are going to Wembley. They're beating the Chelsea under-21s by 5-3. So thankfully we're not going to get one of the development teams making it through to the final. And in the quarter-final, it's finished Yeovil 3, Fleetwood 2. Mark Stallard then, an 8-1 defeat. Let's talk about Swansea's finishing first of all, because that was really just from a neutral's point of view, I suppose, and that's what many would have been watching the game on TV tonight. It was just a pleasure. Players like Dyer and Abraham, just the finishing was absolutely exquisite, and the 7th goal as well from Tom Carroll later. It was a pain to watch from a Notts perspective, but it was immaculate.
Well, that's it, yeah. As painful as it was to watch, obviously, because they're going in against Notts. In the cold light of day, I'm sure Kevin Nolan will look at it, will get his players to sit down and look at it and say, look, this is the quality, this is the level that you've got to aspire to. You know, the quality, I'm trying to think back at the 8 goals. I think 6 of them at least must have been first-time finishers. Possibly 7. There's only Carroll's I can remember where he's had a little he played a little 1-2 and had a couple of touches out of his feet and then bent it in the top corner. I mean, only that. But all the rest, I think, were all first-time finishers.
Yep.
You know, that is skill personified. That is not easy. They've made it look simple tonight. Yes, of course they have. Yes, of course, Notts have given them too much space, too much time, allowed them that. But you've got to have the technique and the quality to be able to execute them skills and make the most of them positions. And Swansea have done that in an example of finishing that you'd have to go a long way to see a lot better finishing with the chances that they had. They were absolutely, fantastic finishes. There's only Norton's that was a little bit scruffy, wasn't it? That Adam Collins, got a half punch too, and he volleyed it in through a crowd of players. Other than that, we're talking about really, really decent goals. Yes, of course you can analyse the defending, the tracking of runs, the marking space and not the man that allows the people that time and that ability to pick the corner and pick the spot. Of course you could, but Notts will get away with that in League Two. They will get away with a heck of a lot of that. Not too much. You don't want to encourage it and say, well, it's well done. But what you've got to do, you've got to realise that this is Premier League quality players, the likes of Tammy Abraham, putting them to the sword, who has scored goals at Championship level. He's obviously on Chelsea's books. He's worth millions and millions of pounds. You know, Nathan Dyer has done it in the Premier League. His pace caused problems. Luciano Narsing on the right-hand side. Cole Dickinson.